Can DLC save a game that has been heavily criticized, or is it doomed to forever be a failure? With the current gaming climate the way it is, the question has never been more relevant. So let's take a look at how DLC can help a struggling game and how it can also make it worse. So the first question is, what is DLC, or downloadable content? We don't have to look too far back to a time when video games didn't have extra content that we could purchase to add on to the purchases that we have already made at our local gaming outlet. Season passes were not a thing, and we had to make do with games that had only one design ending set by the developers. If there were add-ons, they usually came for PC games like StarCraft and Warcraft. You get the point here. For a sequel to get our next fix in the game series. Yes, there were technically consoles that had a form of DLC available to the user, but it wasn't really until the Xbox 360 that DLC as we know it now became a big thing. Sony followed suit with the PS3, and what happened from there was game developers started designing content to be sold after the initial launch of their title. So, does DLC give developers a way to change an initial opinion of a game? Well, yes and no. Games that don't do well at launch tend to not last that long. And on the rare occasion, they can find a way to survive by producing extra content that improves upon what they have created. But there are games that have had fairly good reactions once released, but have quickly found criticism for having a lot of shortcomings. Take Destiny. Destiny released initially to pretty good reviews, but it wasn't long until those reviews started to be questioned and people realized that the game had some issues. Destiny 2 was the same. And there are plenty more examples. But the point is that Destiny battled through and released DLC through a planned out structure that players could either pay individually or through a season pass. In this instance, DLC had the ability to help grow the game and improve the quality of the game. The new content gave players something fresh that the vanilla game didn't have at launch. Then there are games that have episodic content like Spider-Man and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which released their content over a few months to keep players interested in a game that is a single-player experience. But what about games that have been critically bagged? If we look at recent releases of Fallout 76 and Anthem, both who have been criticized for the quality of their games, the big question for them is, can DLC save them? Fallout 76 was criticized for its story, or lack of story, and graphical performance amongst other things, and it seems that the player base has dropped drastically despite the outline for DLC coming throughout the year. Anthem has had a similar release, with many likening the quality of its story to that of Fallout 76. With most online talking about endgame, DLC is commonly used to fill into that category, so can DLC save games with this problem? It's not unlikely, but it will take a lot to gain the confidence back of its players. With many turning their backs on both games, The Division and Destiny faced similar downturns in players, but new content saw player bases increase. Games that have a rough run of things hope to turn it all around, then they have to be prepared to give players what they want, within reason. Find ways to improve the game with story, engaging gameplay, and content that gives players a reason to jump back into their games. Destiny's strategy, whether you're a fan of it or not, is to release 2 small DLCs with a larger one later in the year. So far, this has worked to some degree. Players know and expect it from them and are willing to go along with it. But this can have the opposite effect. Bad DLC can keep people away. It can also mean a good game doesn't get the desired sales because people aren't interested in purchasing content that doesn't interest them. So does the price have an effect as well? Well, yes it does. If your game is strong and doing well, having a higher price tag for extra content is probably more acceptable than a game that isn't doing well and putting a high price on that content. Unfortunately for those games, they have to place a more appealing price on this content to entice players back. So Fallout and Anthem would seemingly have to cut the price down for people to want it. Now, some people, and you may be one of them, are enjoying these games and will be happy to pay whatever to play new content for them. And there is nothing wrong with that. Everyone enjoys what appeals to them, but the minority doesn't always win out. Some may ask, why should I pay for content that should have been in the initial release. What is that right price for that DLC? How much would you expect to pay? $10? $20? There is probably no correct answer here. How much should a meal in a restaurant cost? Well, that depends on the place and the quality, and it's up to you to decide if you want to eat there or not. And the same goes for DLC. Who's making the game, and do you want to spend the money to buy it? DLC can have a massive effect on a game's life. It can help it and improve the quality of the game, but on the flip side, it can have the opposite effect and change what people think about it. It can bring people back and push them away. DLC has never been more critical to a game like it is in today's gaming climate. With people having more of a say with social media, game companies can't sit and hide from its critics and are constantly in the spotlight. What do you think? Can DLC for a game that has been bagged by reviews and the general public change your mind with DLC? Can they still get money from you with that DLC? Post your comments below and let me know what your thoughts are and if there is something you would like me to cover in an upcoming video. I'll leave it there for today. As always guys, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and click on the bell notification so you can be alerted when new videos are up. Also, follow me on Twitter for all my updates with YouTube, video posts and streaming updates. And follow me on Twitch for when I stream. I play a wide range of games, as you probably can tell from the videos I post up on here. So anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. Your support is always appreciated. So take care, and I look forward to seeing you guys all in the next video.